Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome to my Tagstravaganza, my Tag Tuesday Tagstravaganza. I'll be doing 3 tags today in all-in-one video. I'm going to be doing the Under the Influence tag, the Are You Like Jane Austen tag, and the Anything But Books tag. As you may know, I've been kind of backing off doing tags on my channel, and I didn't know when I did that people were going to come up with some just great tags. So I'm going to do some tags, and lots of people were kind enough to tag me. For the Under the Influence tag, I believe this tag was created by Olive over at Book Olive some time ago, and I was tagged by Magaret Pinard back in July. So I wanted to get to that one first because I think that's the one I've been tagged in the longest ago. So, question number 1 is, what's a fantastic book you read off a recommendation of the Booktuber? And oppositely, what's a book that you were talked out of reading because of a Booktuber's review? I get so many recommendations from Booktubers that just turn out to be great. If you've seen, at the end of the year, you'll see my top 10 favorite books of the year, and I would hazard a guess that probably 7 of those, at the very least, will come from Booktubers. So I'm just going to pick one, Celia, from the Booktuber Celia from that channel, who is in Norway and just creates great vlogs and is always just beautiful videos. Recommended a long time ago. Talked about how much she loved Jan Foss's The Other Name. I bought it, read it, felt exactly the same. I read I As Another, the second book in the septology, and it's just been, the books were just great. As far as a book I've been talked out of reading, I think probably, if I had to think about it, I was probably pretty close to reading Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan series and starting that. And I can't remember the name of the first book in that series. And I've just seen so many different kinds of reviews. Some people love it, some people just don't care for it at all, and that probably talked me out of reading those books. I may give it a shot at some point, but that would be the one I can think of. Question number 2, has BookTube opened your mind or changed your mind about any genres? And the answer is yes. I used to be a terrible book snob and, a lit crit only, literary criticism only type book snob. With some detective novels thrown in, and while I still don't read a lot of genre fiction, I don't judge it as harshly as I used to, and try not to judge it at all. I think there's some excellent work out there in all genres. Prompt number 3, how much time did you spend on BookTube before? How much time do you spend on YouTube before BookTube? And how much time do you spend on it now? So I mentioned about 1,000,000 times my channel. My first YouTube channel is a fishing channel. It's still up. It still exists. I may actually leave a link to it down in the show notes below in case you're interested in seeing me fish. But that's where I started. And so when I started on YouTube, I started on a fishing channel, and I was on YouTube a lot. I think I'm probably on BookTube a little bit more. But, the way I approach any YouTube thing is that the community is kind of a really important part of it. And being a part of the community means, to me, watching videos and commenting, and that does take up a lot of time, and I still try to do that. I still do that today with BookTube. Prompt 4, how many books do you read per month, per year before BookTube, and how many do you read now? This is where BookTube has definitely had impact on my reading. Before BookTube, I probably read 2 or 3 books a month, probably somewhere between 30 and 36 books a year. I probably about doubled that. I think I read 5 or 6 books a month now, which should put me around, over 60 books a year, which is a lot for me. I'm a really slow reader. I'm never going to be one of those people who, is able to read 120 books, I don't think, in a year, much less like 10 in a month. So, let's see, prompt 5. Has BookTube affected your book buying habits, and if so, are you pleased or displeased by this? I buy more books. I buy more books I never would have heard of or never would have thought about buying before. I do consume more audiobooks. I think that's a way in which BookTube has also impacted me. I find that I really like audiobooks for classics. And so I listen to a lot of classic literature on audiobooks. And I think that's definitely increased, definitely kind of, what was the question? It's definitely changed my book buying habits. I buy more books, and I'm not unhappy about that.
Prompt 6, has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? Steve Donahue and I, back about a year ago, maybe it was earlier, I think it was 2020, we had a discussion about what he refers to as dude bro lit, and particularly about Cormac McCarthy. And I went back, I started to go back and reread the Border trilogy, which is All the Pretty Horses and The Crossing and Cities of the Plain, and reevaluate those books based on his criteria for dude bro. And I made a couple videos. I still haven't reread Cities of the Plain, but I did one for All the Pretty Horses and The Crossing. So yeah, I reevaluated those based on what he described as dude bro lit and trying to decide if they were or were not dude bro lit. So prompt 6 was, has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? Katie at Books and Things really loves Charles Dickens, and I have to admit that I was not a big Dickens fan. I'm still not a huge Dickens fan, but her enthusiasm for Charles Dickens has made me pick up and read more Dickens. I reread Great Expectations, which I really liked, and I've read through audiobook. I've read David Copperfield and Bleak House, and really liked Bleak House a lot. So yes. Prompt number 8 is, what are some pressures you feel on your reading life because of your channel? I just feel pressured to read more, not because people expect me to read more, but because I find so many great books out there, so many books that people are enthusiastic about, and I want to read those books too. It's always feeling like I'm behind and there are more books I need to read, because there are just so many great books. And it's more of an internal pressure than an external pressure. Prompt 9, in what way, if any, do you feel the social element of the community has influenced your reading? Do you think about books differently since joining? I love the social aspects of BookTube. I love the read-along, the readathons, the months. I love the reading challenges. Really love buddy reads. Those things have just been great, and they make me enjoy reading so much more. Joined BookTube, started BookTube to get to talk to people and discuss books with people, and all those things make that more possible. So to me, those things are just great. And then prompt 10, what impact do you hope your own channel will have on the BookTube community and or aspiring booktubers? One, that you don't need a lot of technical equipment to start a BookTube channel, and you don't have to have a whole lot of editing skills. You can actually just sit in front of a camera and talk about books. People will watch, I think, if you do that. And two, just that you can make whatever videos you want to. One of the things I think that new booktubers should do, and I think I've given this advice, is try out all the different types of videos. Make haul videos, make vlogs, make book reviews, do those kinds of things. And see if those things are your style and those things are things you like. Do tags or don't do tags. Figure out what you like and what you want your BookTube channel to be, and then, be happy with that. And if you're not happy with it, then, change it. So that was the Under the Influence of BookTube. Thank you, Margaret, for tagging me. I'll leave links to Margaret's video down below, and if I can find it, Olive's original video. I think it was Olive. If it wasn't, I'll put a little thing up here telling you who the actual creator was. So the second tag is, Are You Like Jane Austen tag. This was created by Shelley Swearingen, a relatively new channel, but a great channel, and she created this tag for Jane Austen July. And again, to give you some idea of how behind on tags I am, I'm just now getting to it. So this asks you a number of questions related to elements of Jane Austen's life to see how much like Jane Austen you are. And then in the end, there's kind of a scale to figure out, if you and Jane Austen will be friends. So prompt number 1 is, Jane Austen was an artist and a writer. Give yourself a point if you're an artist. Give yourself an extra point if you're a writer. I'm going to give myself 2 points here. Artist is a stretch. I do some wood carving. I think I've shown some of that on my channel before, but I am also a writer, so I'm going to go ahead and give myself 2 points there for that one. Prompt number 2 is, Austen was born to a large family. She had a total of 7 siblings, 1 sister and 6 brothers. Give yourself a point if you have more than 3 siblings in your family. I can't. I have a sister, an older sister, and she is my only sibling, so I don't get that point. Prompt number 3 is, Jane Austen did not enjoy her formal education. Give yourself a point if you did not care for school. I did not like high school, but I loved college and I loved graduate school, so I'm going to give myself a third of a point. So my 3 kind of formal education levels, I disliked one of them and I liked the others. Prompt 4, dark humor is woven throughout Jane Austen's writing. Give yourself a point if you have a grim sense of humor. You must share a dark joke in order to get this point. I really don't have a grim sense of humor. It's not that I don't enjoy dark humor, it's just, and I do laugh at it, but it's just not something that I would remember or have a joke to tell. So I think if I can't think of a dark humor joke, then I don't have a dark sense of humor. So I'm not going to give myself that point either. Prompt number 5 is Jane broke off 2 engagements and died a spinster. Give yourself a point if you are single. I am married, happily married for more than 30 years now to a woman who I met in high school. I was 17, she was 16, and we fell in love and have been that way ever since. Which actually feels kind of like a Jane Austen story in a weird way. Let's see, prompt number 6. Austen experienced low periods or spells of depression. Give yourself a point if you have struggled with mental health. So I'm giving myself that point. Prompt number 7. Jane moved away from her childhood home in her 20s. Give yourself a point if you live away from your childhood hometown or region. I live about 130 miles away from the town where I grew up. So I'm going to give myself that point. I think that's far enough. I still live in Texas, but I think that counts as not living exactly the same region. I definitely did move away from home. Prompt number 8, Jane was not vain. Give yourself a point if you have very little interest in vanity. I don't think I'm vain, but then again, vain people don't think they're vain, so I'm just going to go ahead and give myself that point. Prompt number 9, hair was a little concern to Austen. Give yourself a point if you cannot be bothered with your hair. I do like to have my hair combed, so I guess in that respect, brushing my hair and making it look a little neater than it might ordinarily before I come on my videos means that I do care about my hair, so I don't get a point there. And then prompt number 10 is Austen expressed her distaste for hot weather. Give yourself a point if you dislike the heat. I do dislike the heat, but I live in Texas, and the heat is just a part of the reality of my life, so I can function in the heat. You know, the great thing about living in Texas and lots of places in the South is air conditioning allows me to deal with the heat by not being outside. So I total up all my points. I came up with 6 1/3 points, and so on Shelley's scale, 6 1/3 points means that she says that you and Austen are friends. You two could enjoy a long walk in the country and a chat about all the things you have in common. That sounds pretty good to me. So if I'm that much like Jane Austen and, could hang out with Jane every once in a while and have something to talk about, then that would be great. So thank you, Shelley, for tagging me in your original tag. It was great, and I really did enjoy it. So thanks for that. Books tag. This was created by the Book Buds, I believe. I'll leave a link to their original down below. And I was tagged by the History Fella, so I'll leave a link to his channel down below. There are only 7 prompts, and they distinctly don't have anything to do with books. So this is really kind of one of those things that I really attract to in tags where you don't necessarily have to pull a lot of books off the shelves. I don't know if you noticed, but that worked out for me in all these tags today. So question number 1, or prompt number 1, is what is something you own way too many of other than books? And the answer to that are fishing lures. So I said earlier in a different video I have a fishing channel, and I have way too many fishing lures. Just to give you some idea of what I'm talking about here, this box is just full of terminal tackle, which means it's just line and packages of hooks and weighted sinkers. That's what's in this little box inside this big plastic box. And then this box has hard plastic lures in it, things like spinner baits, plastic frogs, crankbaits, and this box is pretty full of those things. And then I have a whole nother one of these boxes. Get it down here. A whole nother one of these boxes, which is actually more full, which is full of what are called soft plastics. These would be things like plastic crawfish and weird worms and little things that look like swimmy fish. I have a whole box of those. Now, the thing to understand about this is these are all fishing lures that I have never used, that I've never even taken out of the package. They just sit inside these plastic boxes waiting for me to use someday, one day,
And in addition to that, out in the garage where I keep my fishing stuff, I have 5 tackle box trays. They're about this big with fishing lures and equipment that I do use. Also in my truck, at any time I have a package of soft plastic worms and hooks and sinkers and a couple of crankbaits and a spinner. Anyway, I have way too many fishing lures. That would be the thing. Problem number 2 is, what is something you do for fun that's not reading a book? Well, obviously fishing is on that list. I also enjoy watching sports. This may sound incredibly sedentary, but then again, so is reading. I really like watching sports on TV, and there's hardly any sport I will not watch if it's on television. Particularly I like watching sports with my son. That's fun. And then every year I play in a fantasy football league, and our fantasy football league starts this week, so that's fun for me too. And there are other things. Prompt 3. What is something special or important on your nightstand that's not a book? That would be a bottle of water. I guess I'm a mouth breather. When I sleep, I know my wife tells me I snore, and so I have a bottle of water there because I do sometimes wake up with incredible dry mouth, and the water is really helpful. Prompt 4. What's something that you buy at a bookstore other than books? Well, not so much anymore, but there were times in my life when I've gone to a Barnes & Noble looking for a movie as a gift or looking for music. So music, movies, toys, games, those kind of things at the big bookstores. Prompt number 5. What's a fun gift you received that wasn't a book or a gift card for books? My wife gave me a fly fishing rod, which I've been practicing with and hope to get out and do some fly fishing soon as the weather cools off just a little bit. That's been really fun for me, so it's either books or fishing apparently. Prompt number 6 is, what's a YouTube channel that you watch that's not related to books? So I'll give you a fishing channel, so I'm talking about fishing. My favorite fishing channel, and the channel that inspired me to create a fishing channel, is called Realistic Fishing. Fairly irreverent, but a lot of fishing from the bank, which is what I do because I don't have a boat. I also really like to watch train channels, like where they put the camera in the front of a train and they just video the train going on its route. I'll leave a link to one of those down below. And then narrowboat channels I've talked about on the channel before. I love narrowboat channels on the English canals, and I'll leave a link to my favorite one of those down below. And then also channels where people just walk around, and I've linked one of those recently, but I'll link it again. So there you go. That is and then prompt 7 is to tag people you want to learn more about. This tag has been really popular on BookTube, so I'm not going to tag anybody. I'm just going to say, for 5 of you out there who watch this and want to do this tag, who have not been tagged, I'm tagging you. So there you go. There is the Anything But Books tag. Thanks to the History Fella for tagging me. Thanks to the Book Buds for creating this kind of really fun, quick tag. There you go. Those are my 3 tags. My Tagstravaganza Tuesday. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.